Hey, it's Seagrove, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about deck choice. But before I get into that, I just wanted to say thank you because I know I've said this already, but I hit 500 subs this weekend. That's really exciting for me because when I started this channel back in April, I said to myself by the end of the year, I would like to have 1,000 subs. And to reach that halfway point, even though it's past halfway through the goal period, is really exciting for me. The goal felt very lofty, but I've been working on setting goals for myself and working towards them. So to reach that halfway point is super exciting for me. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who not only who watches my content and does sub to the channel, but to everyone who's come to me at regionals or league cups and has said, "Hey, I appreciate your content," or just introduced themselves, told me about their games. It's been super cool. I really appreciate that. That's super motivating. And I'm also very thankful to the people who are on the channel who just keep coming back and are willing to share with the community and willing to give their ideas and their time over and over again. That's super awesome. Pokemon has such an amazing community, and it's because of these people who are leading from the top by giving of themselves and giving of their time. So we're really appreciative of that, and I'm really appreciative to everybody who's helped the channel grow in one way or another. To people who've shouted it out, who've come up to me and said thank you, who have subbed to the channel, who just watch the videos or share a link from time to time. I really appreciate that. Now, I wanted to talk about deck choice. So my deck choice for regionals, I actually changed for Daytona the night before. I was on Rainbow Road, and then I got nervous because of all the Sudowoodo. I had ways to handle it, but I wasn't beating Darkrai playing Sudowoodo consistently enough for my liking, so I decided to test out Lapras. Lapras beat Darkrai, and then because Turbo Lapras was beating Darkrai, I knew it was going to beat Turbo Turtles, which I figured would be the most and the second most played decks at the tournament. I figured the third most played deck would be Garbodor, and the fourth would be Night March. And I had a bad Garbodor matchup, but I knew my Night March matchup was very good because of Toad Quaking Punch and Kyurem. So I felt sorry, Karen Quaking Punch and Kyurem. So I felt really good about that. But I ended up hitting two Trubbish and a Galissapod, which I expected to hit one of each, or two between the three of them. But anyways, Lapras was really interesting. I've never played such a matchup-based deck in my life. I ended up, basically, every time we flipped over, I knew who was going to win the series. Like, I played against two Trevenant, a Darkrai and a Darkrai Yveltal, and a Turtles, and one Seismitoad. And all of those are really good matchups. And as soon as we flipped, I was like, okay, I've got this. It was a little bit scary a couple times when I dead drew game one or something, but I ended up taking the series every single time. Then against the two Trubbish Garbodor Necrozma decks that I played, or like Coco Garbodor, or whatever it was with Garbodor, I ended up losing. And against Galissapod, I ended up losing. One only happened off of a whiffed Colress. Like I Colressed for 8 and missed an energy, which was disappointing, but I sort of knew going into every matchup whether I was going to win or lose. And that really got me thinking because there's something I already knew, but I didn't really believe or fully understand. And that is that top players pick decks that are 50-50-ish with the whole field. And they may take one loss, but it's not a loss that they're going to see often. So top players go in knowing I can beat people who I have a 45-55 or maybe even a 40-60 against, or if it's a player who's less experienced, maybe even 30-70 against. They can come in and just believe in their skill level, and so take a deck that is not matchup based, that is 50-50 across the board, and just win games off of their skill. And that is something that if I want to take my game to the next level, I have to start being willing to do. I really have shied away from meta for a few reasons. One is I love making new decks. That's one of my favorite things about the game. Making like Xerneas Garbodor or Solgaleo with Kyurem Tex or whatever it is, Rainbow Road. Playing these decks that people aren't accepting or that are not accepting my versions of as meta or even, top 10 or top 15 even with my weird versions. But I take these to League Cups and I'm top 8ing like at least 50% of the time. Last season, I think I played 5 off meta decks at League Cups, and I topped 4 of them. So it's just like really, really fun for me. But when I'm topping, I'm getting, top 4 or top 8. I'm not winning these League Cups. And part of that is because I haven't been willing to play meta. And the reason for that is I put my time into these rogue decks, which is super fun. But I feel like with next quarter, I really need to invest in playing and learning meta. The other reason that I really shy away from it is because when Gardevoir established itself as the deck, I hadn't put time into it, where I had a bunch of friends who put a lot of time into it. So I felt like if I play them in the mirror, they're going to beat me. Or I'm not going to be able to outplay the counters like they can, and people are going to be countering it. So for that reason, I shied away from it, but now I'm willing to start taking that step, even though I may not quite be at that level. I'm going to start taking that step and trying to just trust in my skill and to outplay my opponents. So I had 6 wins at both of the last regionals I went to, and I think that's very indicative of my skill level. I'm not a day 2 player yet, but I'm someone who's pushing that. I've been top 64 or top 128, one tie, one asking my opponent to play faster, or calling a judge to ask my opponent to play faster, or hitting one better matchup away, but I'm not doing that. I'm missing that for whatever reason, whether it be my skill level, I believe, is appropriate for my results of 6 wins. One was 6-3, one was 6-2-1. But either way, I believe that's very indicative of where I am, and I need to be willing to either play a meta deck, or even if it is something rogue, not to play something that is matchup based, so that I can try and outplay my opponents a little bit more. And it's like a step of faith, sort of like I can do this, and maybe I'll fall flat on my face, but I'm going to try it, and I'm going to try it for a while, keep trying it, and let my skill build, and then see myself get a day 2 at a regional, or win another League Cup, or whatever it is. So like last season, I won 1 League Cup, and that was with Rainbow Road, and then other than that, I top 4'd everything. So I just need to be willing to, even though I'm not at the pro level, start trying to play like a pro, and sort of stepping out in faith, knowing that my skill level will rise to meet what I'm pushing my skill level to be, if that makes sense. So that's just some of my thoughts I had on deck choice. I wanted to share that with you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and shout out to Flipside Gaming. They've sort of encouraged my rogue addiction. They allow me to write a couple articles a month on rogue decks that I've come up with. Unfortunately, the last 2 have become meta after I've submitted them, or at least after I've started them. Although my version is a little bit weird, of course. But this next one, I'm definitely not going to be meta by the time it's published. So check out my articles on Flipside Gaming. Also, if you shop on Flipside Gaming, I used to buy all my stuff from TCG Player, but on Flipside Gaming, you can use the discount code, which is just my username, Seagrove, Seagrove, all caps. Just put that in all caps, and you'll get 10% off. And with the 10% off, it is significantly cheaper than TCG Player for almost everything. So definitely check that out. See if you can't save some money by shopping at flipsidegaming.com. Thank you guys so much again for helping me get to 500 subs. I'm trying to celebrate 500 subs by doing at least 5 videos. I'm actually shooting for 7, so that if I miss a couple, someone has to cancel or whatever it is, I'm still going to hit 5 videos. Yeah, so we have a meta forecast coming up. We'll be filming that tomorrow. It should be out Friday. And then we have a couple about what it is like to be a fully pro player. Like, this is your job. So definitely look out for those. Thank you again to everyone who keeps volunteering to come on the channel. Everyone who said, come up to me and said, hey, that's super, super motivating just to hear, like, I really appreciate what you're doing. And yeah, I'm just really, really thankful, really excited for the future of the channel, and really happy about how it's been going. So thanks again, and we'll see you next time.